Hey, folks, welcome back to the Blathering Backstage. I think this is our third installment. I'm Ken. You know me. This is producer Steve. That's how they know you. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Ken. Thank you as always. Excited for these. These are always fun conversations we have here on the backstage.
Yeah, these are off-the-cuff conversations, like a little podcast, just a chit-chat of things on our mind, things that maybe pop up in the show, and trying to be as casual as I can. By that, I mean I didn't even tie the drawstrings on my sweatpants. Just sitting here.
That's 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 high honor. High honor. So when you say it's more like a podcast, because we talk about modern radio on the
Yeah.
Blathering is what we joke about.
hmm
I associate the difference, Ken, between podcast and radio, aside from the live and recording fact, is on a podcast, it's socially acceptable for me to lean back in my chair. Whereas on radio, I feel like I have to be
Yes.
like sitting up
Right here.
straight a little bit and more direct and forward. Is that a fair assessment? Is that the difference between those mediums?
I think that's what ends. You know, you've just encapsulated like 20 to 25 years of these two sides warring with each other, radio
Right.
people like me and podcasters. By that, yeah, podcast is anyways, I'm feeling good versus me. I care. This is the sports and weather. Yeah, I don't know, and I'm trying so hard to be casual more on things because I know that's what people want, but it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me. I think because I see this microphone as the way I talk to the world. And so it becomes, as I have said before, a bit of a character, an exaggeration of myself. It's me, but, you know, I'm pretty different off the mic. I mean, quieter off the mic. I don't talk much at parties. You know?
I feel like you would be first of all, it's interesting the way you say the way you look at the microphone. I'm going to come back to that, but Ken, I
Okay.
feel like you would be a great ally in the corner of a party for someone who's a little concerned about, like, they don't really know everybody that's there. They just got a drink. They're like, okay, I need to find someone who's like kind of just chill, but I
Yeah.
can like the kind of the person that like will people watch with me for a moment and be like, oh hey, look at that guy. So you're saying you're that person at the party?
You're absolutely right for the most part. I think it's changed slightly as I've gotten more comfortable with myself over the years. And maybe start drinking more at parties or weddings. Like at a wedding, I move around a lot. But what
Yeah,
you're describing is mostly me at parties. I am known for, and I'm not the only person, but I'm known for finding a spot. And I have had people say, I was one time at like a schmodown after party at a bar, and I found a corner. And to me, it's not. It's just like I want to order some food and a drink, and I'm going to sit here. It's not I'm the king, come to me. You're my audience, but I'm just here. And someone was like, you're always. I know you're here at the party. Everyone else is all around and surrounded me, but I know you're here. And I'm like,
But right.
then I still.
I love that. I give into that. I want to hold court. I'm with you on, like, I want to
Oh,
find my
sure.
corner of the party or at the bar and kind of like post up somewhere, because first of all, it's like finding parking, right? Like you need to have
Yes.
your own place. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you have to have a home base. Like you have to know where the bathroom is. You have to know where your shit is. You have to know where
Literally.
where you're putting your drink down, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I want to hold court. I want the people to come to me. I don't want to have to go find you in the middle of the party, because I hate like doing the awkward shimmying through people.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one of my
Excuse me.
giant social pet peeves.
Excuse
Like
me.
it gives me huge amounts of anxiety to
Right.
like try to push people aside in a crowded bar. I hate that so much. So no, I just want to sit. You come to me. We'll hold court, and then you go do your thing. I'm gonna be here though.
Yeah. No. You picked up on that right. In fact, I think sometime I've been talking on podcasts for so many years. I know I tell every story 19 times, but in high school. I think my senior year, maybe junior year. There was a set of like circular, semicircle benches, wood benches on our high school campus, and this is why after everyone in my years got the driver's license and could leave for lunch, right? Like, ooh, you're going to Taco Bell.
Ooh.
Going to
Ooh,
Taco
yeah.
Bell for
Yeah.
lunch. Really, what most of them did is there was a liquor store about 2 minutes from the high school called the Log Cabin, and they just went up there and bought smokes. That's mostly
Nice.
people did. But I didn't want to. I was uncomfortable with the idea of leaving. I don't think I even had a car to my senior year, so I sat on these benches, and I'd sit on top of the benches, like on the back, with my feet on the bench that you'd sit on normally. And I just sit there.
Right.
And my friend Gavin, rest in peace, Gavin, would come there. And then next thing you know, our friend Ty and our other friends. And then it became Ken's Corner. They called it Ken's Corner. It was like in our yearbook, too. So,
Wow. Look at that.
and
Ken's
there you
Corner.
go.
Yeah.
That's how I act.
I'm gonna have to come up with a Ken's Corner segment on the Blathering for some kind of that's just gonna be my own little. We're gonna have to come up just for something like maybe on Advice Mondays, where a piece of advice that you dish out for everybody will be Ken's Corner on Advice Mondays.
Come to Ken's Corner. I sit here. There's something I want to get to, but before we do that, do handle a little bit of business for the month of May. The show's here on the Napzok Network, Napzok Files, and the YouTube channel, sponsored by the motion picture in progress, The Arbiters. I have talked about this a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's made by my friend Phil Svitek, who's been on the show, will be on again. Another friend of mine from the AfterBuzz days, Sarah Stratton, acting in it, producing. It's a great fantasy story. It's a 2D animated film. I'll be talking more about it all throughout the month, sharing some photos. But also, more importantly, this is one of the best people I know, Phil, who shows up for people. One of the only people in this last year or so that I've been, as I've struggled to find work and just simply sometimes find money to get food. People like Phil and Steve, you're one of those people too. Have just been so, generous to me, but just been here and made the show work. And you've got Phil energy, but Phil shows up. So I want to show up for Phil and tell everyone to go to his Patreon page where you can support the making of this film. They share the process of what's going on, and he has a big vision for this thing, and I've worked on it too. So I really want you all to check it out. And go watch the video. There's a link if you're watching on Patreon. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link below. And click on it, watch the video, leave a comment saying the Blathering sent you. So Phil knows the world's getting to hear his stuff. So check out The Arbiters, supporting the show this month. So I have a big question for you, Steve. I have a big question. Do you feel that you have chased your dreams in life at all, correctly, incorrectly? What's your thoughts on dreams, goals, career aspirations, and what happens when they get waylaid? What happens when life takes another direction? Do you give up on them? Did you lose yourself? Did your self-worth get wrapped up in so much that you lost a bit of yourself? Where are you with dreams?
This is a deep question. I'm glad we've got time to unravel this, but I think I'm glad you're asking me now, Ken, because I'm less than a month away from turning 35, so I'm
okay.
going to answer this question differently than I would have 5 or 10 years ago, and I'm going to answer it differently than I think I would 5 or 10 years from now. But that's okay. I think that's kind of part of the human experience, from adapting and changing, and it's nice to think that we think we're on a path and this is how stuff is going to be X amount of time from now and then X amount of time from that. But really, we're just kind of, if I've learned anything coming to my mid 30s here, it's no one really has their shit figured out as much as you thought people did growing up. Yeah. We're all just kind of trying to get through it day by day, week by week, month by month, whether that's financially, mentally, socially, romantically. We're all like in a different place in that mind, and it's not as structured as you think it is when you're growing up, or what your expectations are, even like in your 20s and stuff, when you like think you know what the real world is like, right? So just starting off there. But just to say, did I chase my dreams? I did a shitty job of it, that's for sure. I think just starting out, I had aspirations, like as a young person, to get into broadcasting full time, as a professional on the radio, and I went to school for journalism, and so I did plenty of stuff, in my early 20s around, newspapers, traditional media, radio, internships, stuff like that. But then life happened. I met my now wife back then, and living in the area that I do, Ken, when I moved here, I got offers to ABC, NBC, and CBS to work at the television stations up here.
Heard of them? Yeah.
Which is a big deal here in DC. Like that's where everyone gets their start. They wanted to give me $10 an hour, and work the overnight shift. Right. And so my wife is a school teacher. We would have like never seen each other. Wouldn't have been able to pay my rent. Yeah. And you can't exactly do that as like a hobby second job, right? So it's like I wasn't gonna be able to convince my then girlfriend, be like, hey, let's get 2 roommates, so that I can pursue this job where I will work from 9 at night until 6 in the morning and basically never see you because you're a school teacher, and I also have to work on the weekends, so blah blah blah. So that whole thing. So then life kicks you in the ass and you go a different direction.
Well, you say okay, that's life kicks in the ass, but life also kicks you in the life, meaning you got you're married, you have 2 kids, and I want to come back to that there because that changes a lot of it too. But what you're talking about, and just to roll back the curtain a little bit, you're somewhat of a cagey guy. You're not completely cagey. I get it. I don't want to pull everything out from behind the curtain, but you had called in the show. I know I joke about not really remembering when we met in Chicago, but that's also just par for the course of me. But I wasn't 100%. I didn't know who Skooma Booster or Buster was on Twitch. I just knew it was a very funny commenter on my shows. You show up, you call into the Blathering. I'm like, wow, this guy has what I'm looking for in terms of callers. Gets in, asks a funny question that's a thought starter, maybe gives his answer, goes even before I want him to sometimes. Like, that's how radio calls go. That's how they should go. And I reached out, hey, who are you? And you're like, I'm this guy. And I was kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was kind of like, why are you good at this? Like, I'm paraphrasing, but why are you good at this? And you told me kind of the story you just told me now, and it makes sense. So you are really good at this, and you're coming to it a little bit later than planned. I don't mean to grill you, and you feel free to ask me these questions, but that moment you're talking about is you're almost skipping over it. Like, hey, I went to school for this. I wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. I got offers, not from KCOY Channel 12 in Santa Maria, California. I got offers from CBS, ABC, NBC to start my journey there. But it wasn't realistic. It wasn't something you could do. Did you wave goodbye at the dream at that point? Or were you like, I'll come back to it? And by the way, I pay you top dollar, so you've come back. No, you don't get paid yet by me because my channel doesn't generate enough money to even pay myself yet. But if there's any $1 million Patreon donors out there, please let me know. But you know what I mean? Like, did you have this conscious moment of the thing I set out to do is no longer there for me?
It's a really good question. I think as a young person, when I had that realization in my early 20s, and decided I'm going to go sell apartments for $40 an hour instead of working at the radio station or the news station for $10 an hour. Mm-hmm. That was I need to provide for me, my girlfriend, my puppy. Mm-hmm. I need to pay for rent in this really expensive, high cost of living area. Yeah. And I told myself, new media, social media, I'm a tech savvy guy. If I want to do the journalism thing, I'll find a way to do it on my own, on the side. If it's something I really, if I hate this whole real life job 9 to 5 stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I hated my first job, and I got into a second job, which was like more communications path, not journalism, but it was using more of my a little bit closer to the skills I learned in school. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those things where it's like you got on the grind, right? Like I'm in my 20s, I'm trying to save up money, I'm trying to eventually buy a house and build a family and all that kind of stuff. So it's just I got on the hamster wheel, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And before I knew it, like, shit, dude, I'm 35. You know what I mean? Right, it's like, here I am. I have 2 kids and everything, but don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm very fortunate the situation I'm in. Yeah. I'm very grateful for everything I have and the family I have and everything. Believe me, 100%. I tell you that all the time too, but yeah, you do talk about stuff like that. But, it was a bummer, a sacrifice, like kind of a waving as it went off. I'm sitting there on the dock and my dreams are kind of sailing away from mm-hmm. I'm not going to put on a thing of headphones every day, talking to a microphone, talk about sports mm-hmm. or the news or politics like I really wanted to for the first third of my life, half of my life.
Yeah. That's big.
More than that now, but yeah.
But that's big stuff. And it seems as though, and I want to be clear too, I'm a believer as best I can be, and hey, whatever happens, and you look back and you go, that's why that happened. That's why that good thing happened. That's why that bad thing happened. It all leads you to where you are now. I guess, I guess. Or people can be like, look, it's all chaotic and chaos and there's nothingness out there. I don't know. So be clear, you wife, 2 kids, there's no even point asking you, would you do things differently? You can't even comprehend that because you have these 3 human beings in your life because where you're at. So that's not what I mean. Mm-hmm. But did you struggle to find any self-worth just in yourself outside of these dreams? And that's a big thing that I have struggled with, to be open with, and I'll let you answer the question. But like, as I've been open on the podcast for years, getting stuck in security for 17 years I still sometimes can't believe I did that. Like, I still sometimes think that's a long time. And that entire time, well, maybe the first 2 years, not so much, but from the third to the 17th year, every day I am farther and farther from the reason, not just I moved to LA, but the reason I think I exist. That was heavy stuff to deal with that I had trouble processing. Mm-hmm. Did you wrestle with that stuff, or were you able to go like, this is also what's in front of me? Family.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. For me, the career stuff, the journalism, the wanting to broadcast professionally, like I always put career aspirations, honest to God, just as a second peg on life aspirations, right? Like it sounds sappy, but at the end of the day, like my number one goal in life was to fall in love, have kids, have a dog, have a home base that felt really good.
Yeah.
And like, because again, if we want to get really deep, Ken, my parents split when I was a kid. My parents split when I was a kid. I moved around a ton as a kid, right? So I don't really have like a quote unquote hometown. That's why we've talked a little bit before, like why I'm a fan of like different teams all over the place.
Right. It's Reds.
Because I've lived all over the country, right? So I'm an Eagles fan, I'm a Reds fan, I'm a Miami Heat fan, because I've lived in all these different places.
Gotcha.
And so that's just how I developed my own sense of self in a way. And so growing up, I was so desperate for having like fixing that in my adult life, right? Like putting down roots for my kids so that my kids felt like they were from a place, they had a home where their mom and dad were there all the time. You know what I mean? Just like and it's not to say I'm ungrateful of like what my parents provided for me. They were amazing.
Yeah.
But it was just it was hard as a kid to be kind of like, mid-elementary school, and then you go from having that nuclear family to being on a plane as a kid, Ken, I was on a plane every 8 weeks.
Don't you hate flying?
I hate flying, and that's part of the reason why. But I had more frequent flyer miles in my 20s than like grown adults today, because I was flying so much as a kid. Yeah,
I don't
use them because I'm terrified.
Let's not we don't need to get therapy psychologically deep, but the fear of flying comes from 2 homes or whatever was going on there.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's
you're
heavy.
Damn right.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. But that comes from like, so when you say that about like, when did you realize you weren't really going to achieve your, like, essentially coming back to like, when did you realize you kind of like gave up on your dream, but kind of realized that wasn't plan A?
Yeah. But Claire, I'm not even asking, I hope to anyone listening, I'm not like, hey, when did you fail? When did you fail? But like, we all have those things we want to be in our lives that we wrap up in our identity. And then at some point when it doesn't work out, I've had a lot of people give up on acting. I got to change and become something else. And I've seen some people transition badly, and I've seen some people thrive.
Right.
Thrive.
Yeah.
I'm blank now.
Yeah.
And they're so happy as blank.
That's a really good point. Because you're right. I when I think about some of my friends or colleagues that way, that's a really good way to think about it. And I think life is defined by some of those transitions, Ken.
Yeah.
When I was 7, I understood that I wasn't going to be Luke Skywalker. When I was 14, I accepted that I wasn't going to be Donovan McNabb. And when I was 20, I realized I probably wasn't going to be Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah.
So I pivoted to what was in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all.
No, that's pivoting to what is in front of me is that's big. That's almost therapy. I mean, that's like
almost a fortune cookie.
Almost fortune cookie, which we're going to play that game with Ken Plume again on the show. We are. This is, and honestly, it's like I'm fortunate enough to be doing, I'm in a weird spot. I am doing every day what I technically love. And some days it's a grind, and some days I'm exhausted, and some days, I have worked for YouTube channels that I didn't believe in, but I've done it for the money, and I need, and it's, again, woe is me, right? But these are my issues, But right now, including the work I'm doing with Pat Conkey, like I believe in what I'm doing every day, and I'm trying to perfect it. I'm trying to change it. The blathering has changed its tone. I feel as though it's a piece of clay. I'm molding with you and others and trying to get it to what I've always wanted to be. So I'm fortunate enough to be that. I can't survive off it right now.
Right.
But I still, I don't know. I still look back and go, why? I feel as though I should have found more self-worth and found what was in front of me at the time to make myself stronger, to become where I am now. I think I'm a stronger person now, but I wasn't for those 17 years because I attached the loss of my dreams. I took it so personal, which you would think, yes, but you found a way to not even pivot. You found a way to move to what's in front of you, move to where you need to go. Does that make sense? Maybe.
Yeah. No,
okay.
it does. Yeah, no, it does make sense.
Giving you credit is what I'm saying.
I appreciate that, Ken. But what I want to ask you coming off of that is someone who powered again, it gets in the most simplest way to put this, you've powered through and committed to the dream no matter how well it is or isn't providing for you in a sense.
Right.
And well, I guess my raw question to you is, does that make you resent it in any way? Like, have you, because that was one of the things I was afraid of growing up, and especially starting out, was a lot of the advice I got from people, especially like mentors and internships and working at a local ESPN station, was like, you're an idiot for wanting to do this. You're dumb. There's no money here. Like, what are you doing? Like, I got a lot of that growing up. You know what I mean? So, like, what did you, what was your experience with that, and kind of how does that make you feel now?
Yeah, that's great. Cause this, my dad last week, when I was up for my 50th birthday, like he said, mostly joking. He just and my dad's very soft spoken and we don't talk much. So it's like, it was kind of funny to hear this kind of stuff from him. But he's like, I wish you could have been a happy garbage man or learned a trade. I wish you could have become a plumber. And my mom years ago said that to me. I'd rather have my son be a happy garbage man. And she doesn't mean to talk down to garbage men because we need garbage men. But they get good pay and pensions, and I'm sure there's good things if they work for the city. But so I guess I'm defending my mom from anyone who's out there like, hey, I work in waste management. But you know what I mean? She said I'd much rather have you be happy at a 9-to-5 job you hate or don't like or didn't feel you didn't want versus depressed trying to pursue. But I never agreed with that. And when my dad said the other day, I didn't agree with it. People have, just maybe going to get a part-time job, I've fought against because it seems like I'm giving up a piece of my personality. And that's not necessarily true. We got to we got to pay for it. But in terms of you resenting it, no, I never resented it because I've always known that nothing else would have worked for me. There's a lot of things I have resentment towards myself for not adapting within my industry soon enough, or not believing in myself soon enough, not coming into my own as a comic soon enough. A lot of my issues were internal. So I could blame the industry. I could blame the low pay, but I have seen people be successful, right? I have seen people get to the top of the sketch world, to the top of the content creator world. I've seen it and I've been around it. It's possible for me, but it's always been stopped myself. So I think that's where the resentment came. I think if I'm being honest, I had a fear of what if you actually were happy being a garbage man? You know what I mean? What like that was the fear. Maybe I resented that. Like, what if everyone was right and I go become a veterinarian and that becomes the great life and I don't even look back? I resented the idea of that and was afraid of that. I don't know if that makes sense, if it answers your question.
It does.
Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense. Taking care of sick dogs would be way more sad, though. Just saying.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
I can't even do that.
For every happy little puppy that you get to see, there's like 8, 10 old sick dogs that you have to
away,
yeah, exactly.
God, I can't do that. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, no thanks.
So
shout out to all the veterinarians out there.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out to Dr. B out here in Burbank.
My vet's name is Dr. Barker. Isn't that funny?
That's her. It's
pretty funny.
Her name is her name is Dr. Burpee, which is right. Dr. B is what they call it. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. So I didn't resent the path. I didn't resent my choices. I had someone one time say when I was even in the security business, because I was kind of good at not the security aspect of it. I probably wasn't as good as others because I didn't care. I cared about the job. I always was trying to be as best I could, and I'm a goody little two shoes. But I was good with people. I was good, but someone was like, "You, I think you might have found your calling," and I just was like, "That's a lie," because I had wrapped up so much of my own self-worth in pursuing the dream and the dream is big. I'll just say entertainment, but the dream, so much of myself was there. So the idea that I actually could have found something else that took me away from what I wanted to be, I resented that option more than the option I wanted to go towards.
That makes sense. And well, that makes sense kind of as far as where the perseverance comes from, you know what I mean? Which I think you deserve a lot of props for. From a
still here,
I think it's admirable from a you can say what you want of it. I think there's something to admire from you are going to hell or high water make something of the dream.
Yeah.
I don't have the courage you have to do that, and part of that is because I decided on a different road where I put a bunch of responsibilities on my own shoulder, where I kind of, that sounds excuse making, but it's not, because that's what I wanted, like, first, right? That's just kind of, I had the, I don't want to say I had the choice, but if you put the path in front of me when I was 20 years old, you can grind for the radio career thing, broadcast career that you think you really want.
Yeah.
Or you can just take the easy path and have the wife, the kids, the dog, and that level. I was like, you know what? I'll just go through door number 2, and you know what? I'll figure out some other way to make money. That's just how it's just where I went.
And door number 2 is pretty good, and also not the easy
pretty damn
life.
Good.
Pretty difficult and challenging.
No,
and all those things.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't want to be. I don't know how familiar you are with Harry Chapin songs. If you like folk singers from the 70s, but. Cats in the Cradle guy, but his song WOLD is the story of a middle-aged. Also, the character in that story's in his early 40s, so that really hurt when I heard that the other day. Again, for the first time in a while. But it's a guy talking to his ex-wife. I'm still on the radio. I'm still chasing the dream. Here I am at WOLD. Great story song, and it's sad. It's sad. So. It's a tough.
Music is sad.
Music is sad. And, yeah, you're right. You don't like feelings, but let's. What I'm also curious to ask is, I reach out to you, and you're not the first person that I've heard call into my shows or be in my orbit and said, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." That started at 20, actually. I was on the radio, and there was like this 12-year-old kid that would call in. I was like, "You remind me of me." When I was 12 making radio shows in my room, do you want to come intern for a summer? I thought it'd be the coolest thing for him. And it was.
That was actually me, Ken. That
was you. I don't know what happened. I barely remember the kid's name. His parent, it was all, parents signed off and came. It wasn't like official paperwork, but it's just like, come hang out a couple days a week or something, an hour on the shift, and I'll show you what a radio station is. Because I wish someone had done that to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And not for nothing, I didn't have a lot of that kind of, direction or guidance. I was left to maybe flounder on my own a little bit. So that's when it started. And also later on, I just got in trouble. The owners were like, "What? Why is this kid here? Why? You're still a kid. You should be an intern. You're 20. You should get but I've been doing that for a while. So it's not a surprise I found a person. I was like, oh, I like working with this guy. Alden Diaz used to call in the Casualty Talk. And I was like, Daily Thrones. I was like, this kid's got something too. And, Brian Tiller and I have written music together. He was just found me through listening to all the dumb shit I do. And you're all human beings that have things. And I like when I connect with with folks like you. But you said early on, again, we joke. I wish I had $1 million benefactor right now. The biggest question to you would be like, if I won the lottery and I'm like, Steve, pack up your bags and family, you're moving to the coast because we're going to build a studio here. You might be like, nah, dog. I like the East Coast, mother trucker. I don't know. You can answer that question when I win the lottery.
Oh no! If there's a VC angel out there listening, or just happens to come across this on his Spotify or Apple Podcast algorithm, and just randomly wakes up and 40 minutes in is still listening to this for some reason, decides I want to be like a guardian angel.
Yeah.
No, please give Ken all that money. I will. No, hell no. There's plenty of schools in California that Mrs. Producer can teach at. The kids are young enough; they don't have any actual real friends yet. It's all good, man.
Good schools in Burbank.
Yeah.
Good schools in Burbank.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
But
100%.
My kids are young enough; they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't even know the names of the school kids they go to with.
Right. But my dog is more attached to the neighborhood than the kids are.
But I brought you in the fold, and you really do a great job producing things. You have great ideas, and you're good on the mic and everything. But I was touched to hear that you're like, no, this because I'm always we joke on air. That's where I started the thread. ADHD kicking in, but I do apologize. Like, I don't like free labor. And a lot of people in my industry abuse, even I got abused for free labor for a while. So it sucks. But you're like, hey, this is doing something to me. This is what I went to school for. This is what I wanted to do. And having this as just an outlet right now has done positive things to me. So I want to jump to that moment as we start to pull this all into an end here and land this plane. Another thing you're good at doing on segments. What take me through that. Take me through that feeling.
Yeah. No, it was, I'm not a religious guy, but it was like a blessing kind of a thing. I mean, the idea that I had the opportunity to actually practice what I preach a little bit from what I learned, what I critique when I watch the news or and stuff in general. When I'm yelling at about why are we talking about this when the world is on fire, kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. No, I think that was that was just me. Just like I enjoy playing with the toys is another part of it, right? Like as far as like going to school and stuff, I love doing the broadcasting stuff, the streaming stuff. That's why we do, we dabble on Blathering Gaming because I love pulling up OBS and streaming and putting on a microphone and talking because that's where I love storytelling. It's where it all comes back to. Like the original bit of all of this, wanting to be on radio, wanting to be in any kind of adjacent to broadcasting is I love telling stories. And I always thought I was better at doing that with my voice than I was in words. And so that's where it all really came from. And so, yeah, I mean, after finding you online over 10 years ago now, I mean, it's 12 years ago now. I know, right? And going through the journey, meeting you. You always mention Chicago Celebration, but there's also the DC show.
That's right.
That you went to.
I forgot you twice.
Yeah, you always forget that. Yeah, you forgot me twice. It's cool.
You know why? Because
cool.
I know the DC shows you're at, and I don't have a positive memory of those shows. They weren't bad. I'm a better comic now, but also I felt I'd let Mark down that week, and I think I blocked a lot of that week.
No, for what it's worth, our show was good. There was one like annoying, I don't want to say heckler, but there was like one person, I don't know if you remember, but there was definitely one person in the show that we were at that just like didn't know how to read the room.
Well, you talk about the person off to the side that was like arguing with the waiter. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, they were arguing with the waiter. Yeah, I was like, someone was like talking really loud or something. I was like, what are we doing?
And they weren't even a fan of Mark. They weren't a fan of Mark or myself. They were just there. No. That's one of the reasons I blocked out a lot of that weekend. Because I felt I didn't do a good job. Side conversation. Nowadays, I would not yell at the guy, but I would have acknowledged it. I tried to fight through it, but not in a way of, hey, everyone, we're going to ignore it. I tried to fight through it, and I'm very much afraid of this situation right now, and I don't know what to do. That's what changes me as a comic. That's probably why. But and jokes aside, like you haven't found a second career yet. You still have to work and this and that. But what I see, the question I ask is, this is the risk and reward of chasing dreams is there is sometimes no finish line. Sometimes there is a finish line. I knew I wasn't going to play Major League Baseball after 13. That ended. But
I hear that.
In a lot of ways, there's these seasons of life, and you are to come back now, 12, 15 years later, to something you studied and get to do it in some fashion on a weekly basis. That is, to me, speaking of a second season and you getting to life taking you back to something that you always were wanted or good at, but now you're there now. It's a be here now kind of moment. Does that, does that make sense? Because I ramble, but that's why it's the Blathering Network here. But how does it feel to kind of get to do this and reconnect with something that you maybe thought you had to lose?
It's how does it feel? It feels amazing. I mean, it's been a game changer. We've talked about, not to get too deep, but we've talked about like mental health journeys and stuff on the show, and especially in the world climate, the importance of that. And between this show and some other actions I've taken in the last few years, like don't get me wrong, like I've said before, I love the life that I have and the things that I have, but like I haven't had a lot of slices like for me, you know what I mean? Like I haven't had a lot of hobbies that are like, that's just producer Steve time. That's just like the thing that he does. Like I've been such a giver. I've been I want to build this foundation for my family and the people around me and make something worth of the stuff that I've worked hard for, whether it's school or work, whatever it is. I totally let go of like all of my own kind of hobbies and social things. You know, I moved to a place where I didn't have roots or friends or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, this in the last, because it's been almost like we're coming up on 2 years here pretty soon. Man.
Yeah.
This has been a game changer for me from an outlet perspective. I think that's the best way to put it, as an outlet for that creative juice, that creative fire that I have, that I've never not only had I haven't had a real life opportunity because of real life circumstances, but part of it's been like a courage thing too. You know, I was, as for someone who wanted to do this kind of stuff, I cared way too much what other people thought of me as a young person. And that just gave me the total paralysis of actually getting up on the stage to begin with. I knew once I was up there, I had the juice. I knew I could do the thing. I knew I could learn the craft. But I was just too hesitant to actually step up to the plate.
I get it. No, it makes sense. I mean, I had that early on. I wish I'd started earlier in a lot of things in high school, and even as an elementary school kid, I was too afraid. I get it. But yeah, I guess, yeah. So, you know, it felt good to hear you say that a long time ago, like, oh, cool. You know, he's really having fun doing this. But also, yeah, it's a lesson to me. It's a bit of a lesson in this pursuit of dreams that, and we're talking about creative stuff and entertainment. It could be whatever you out there listening, whatever dreams you have, whatever goals you have, you can come back to them, or it will come back to you in some way. And I think what you have done is exemplary is you found your self-worth outside of those quote unquote things, and you have them in your family, you have them with, you know, the life you've built for yourself. And so because of that, it's almost like life is saying you're more ready for this than you would have been then. And I think that's a lesson I've experienced firsthand in my life. You know, I don't know if you feel that way. I don't know if coming on a YouTube channel with less than 5,000 subs is feeling as though destiny has called to you, but it feels as though it's come back to you at the right time.
I think it's Ken. I think it's perfect, man. I think it's the perfect environment, the perfect community, all of it, because it's very much me. You know what I mean? Like it's and so much of what we consume now in different media entertainment spaces, it's, you know, there's not 5 channels, there's not even cable. There's 100 cable channels we all used to watch for the same thing. There's thousands and thousands of channels on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. So hardly any of us are watching the same thing anymore. So the fact that I found this lane that gives me so much joy, you know, found a community that you've brought together that, you know, has so many different, not only like-minded people, but the same type of humor. We all laugh about the same kind of things. We all bring each other the same type of joy in talking about the craziness of the world or the funny things going on and the things that we like. That's, dude, I can't put a price on that. Like that's, I could only tell 20-year-old me, like, hey man, it's going to be okay. Just like keep grinding out. Like, yeah, your 20s, you're going to feel like you're on a hamster wheel, but that's kind of what you need to do to get the stuff ready to accomplish, you know, the stuff you really do care about. And like, you're right. When I told you when we started doing stuff, like, hey man, I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for Blue Sky followers. I'm not here for Twitch subs or anything like that. Like, I'm here because I love talking into a microphone. I love interacting with you. I love interacting with this community. And I think we have an opportunity to make cool, funny stuff together.
Yeah. We do, and it's been a fun ride. More to come. Not to speak for you, but there's a lesson in being present where you are, being open to what life has given to you, and realizing that there's twists and turns, and that whatever goal you out there get, it's not about the material goal that you would write down on paper, but just whoever you want to be, you can still be. Just be open to the journey, the turns, and that's one thing I regret, if I resent anything, is that 17 years I spent in security in the last 15, you know, because first year was like, don't worry. I literally said the words, I'm going to be on Saturday Night Live in a year. Don't worry about it. You know, stupid idiot. And I had people tell me like, oh no, even that's going to take 5 years, even if you were like, like, what are you doing? Like, but after about 15th year, I had this sinking feeling, and I let it control me for 15 years. Where I felt like a failure every day, where if I had pulled back and realized life has me here now for a reason, life has me building something inside myself for a reason, think I would have been much more productive in my time, much less lost in my own resentment and shame and anger and fear, and would have moved forward sooner when I needed to be. But it happened when it happened. It happened for me at 38, 39, finally getting out, and it's led me to here, and it's led me to you. So hopefully, Steve, do you think we helped anyone today? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I feel pretty good after, so at least it was good therapy for us.
Hey, this is what we do here on Blathering Backstage. I like having these conversations. This very much is kind of older school podcasting for me. Just the cameras are running, so I'm staring into a lens. But back in the day, these are the kind of conversations I like to whisper into the microphone. You can even tell I'm doing it a little different. My voice might be saying, but I'm leaning in. This is how I used to do Napzok Files. Just like, ooh, yeah, tell me about your pain. Tell me about your pain. I want to know.
Tell me about you.
Yeah,
I'm leaning so far back. That's how you know we're in podcast mode.
Part of my problem in my career is I've just launched too many things because I just get excited about new things. And yes, I guess that's an early sign of ADHD. But tell me your pain. That's maybe the podcast series I need to launch. Just tell me your pain. Let's go for it.
Yeah,
let's go right in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And mix it with a little ASMR. Only do it in that. Yeah. Only do it in the whisper voice.
Yes.
That's the bit.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on the podcast feed, and thanks for supporting. Please, I'd love you to consider supporting. Speaking of keeping the shows going at patreon.com/catnapzok. I do apologize. A Pop Rockin' Radio will happen soon. I have a playlist ready to go. I just don't have time right now. So hang over there, support over there, support Steve. Follow him on Blue Sky. The guy wants followers on Blue Sky. God damn it. Get him some followers on Blue Sky.
Did not say that.
You thought it. We'll see you all later here on the Napzok Network and the Napzok YouTube channel. Bye, friends.